When I met Sarah, I was 29, full of hope and ready for something real. She was beautiful, intelligent, and had this way about her that made me feel like I'd finally found my place. Our connection was instant. Conversations flowed effortlessly, laughter came easily, and everything seemed to fit perfectly. Within 6 months, we moved in together, dreaming about a future that felt bright and promising. For a while, things were wonderful. We shared cozy dinners, weekend getaways, and lazy Sunday mornings in bed. I was happy, and I believed she was too. But gradually, something began to change. It didn't start emotionally, but physically, she started to pull away. The intimacy that once came naturally began to fade. She stopped initiating affection, stopped holding my hand in public. I asked her if work or stress was affecting her, but she brushed it off. The nights grew colder, and the distance between us became heavier. One evening, after a long day at work, I reached out, hoping to reconnect, to feel that spark again. Instead, she turned me away with a sharpness that hurt more than any words. "You don't have what I need," she said flatly. I was stunned, speechless. "What do you mean?" I asked. She looked at me like I was a stranger. "You need experience. Real men know what to do. You're just inexperienced." It hit me like a blow. The woman I loved was telling me I wasn't enough. Not emotionally, not mentally, but physically, in the most personal way imaginable. I sat there, broken and confused, trying to make sense of her words. Over the next weeks, things only worsened. She avoided me, told me I wasn't satisfying her, and said I needed to learn from other men. Sometimes she laughed about it, as if it were some cruel joke. I tried to fix it. I read books, watched videos, even sought advice from friends. Anything to be better. But she didn't want change. She wanted me to fail. Then, one night after she went out with friends, I saw messages on her phone. Flirtatious texts from a man she called experienced, full of inside jokes and plans. Things I wasn't part of. That was the breaking point. It wasn't just that she was unhappy. She was looking elsewhere, not for friendship, but for something more. I confronted her the next day. She denied it at first, but with the proof in front of her, the guilt mixed with arrogance in her eyes was unmistakable. She said it was nothing serious, just someone to fill a void. That night, I sat alone in our apartment, feeling heavy with pain. I didn't want to lose her, but I knew I deserved honesty and respect. The thought that she was deliberately hurting me, calling me inexperienced, denying me intimacy, while seeking another's touch, was unbearable. The next morning, I made a choice. I told her I couldn't live like this anymore. If she wasn't going to be fully with me, then maybe it was time for her to leave. She laughed, said I was bluffing, reminded me she owned half the apartment, and insisted it wouldn't be that easy. But I was done playing the fool. I spent the day quietly packing her things, clothes, books, personal items, boxing it all with careful resolve. When she came home that evening, everything was ready. The boxes lined the living room. She exploded in anger, screaming, yelling, blaming me for ruining her life, calling me bitter and weak. But I stood my ground. "I'm tired of feeling less than I am," I said calmly. "I wanted to grow with you, to be your partner in every way. But you decided I wasn't enough. So now it's your choice to leave." She stormed out, slamming the door behind her with her bags in hand. I never reached out after that. Months have passed since that night. Some days were hard. I questioned my worth, my future, but I discovered strength I didn't know I had. I focused on healing, surrounded myself with friends who reminded me I was enough just as I am. What I learned is that love isn't about experience or perfection. It's about respect, connection, and choosing each other, even when things get tough. If someone tells you you're not enough, remember, it's not your fault. Sometimes that's their problem, not yours. As for Sarah, I heard she's still chasing those experienced men. But I'm not bitter. I'm better. And that's what counts.